able to successfully land it on the barge here recently. All the guidance, navigation, control algorithms, how you manage all the propellants in the vehicle during those descent phases, how those engines are deeply throttleable to be able to give you that capability to land the vehicle back. All of those technologies are extensible, and it goes beyond the things that you see on the webcast. There are avionics platforms that we have that are common between the two vehicles that we've been able to get flight experience on for New Shepard, share those things with New Glenn. And that's all the fun technical stuff. The other part is you've got to operate the rocket, right? And so we have our great crew down in Texas right now that's sitting on console getting ready to launch. And we've taken many of those operations folks, been able to share those lessons learned with New Glenn. One of our flight directors for New Shepard sits on console for first New Glenn launch, right? And so how you manage that launch crew, how you get through the countdown, all those are the types of lessons learned that we're sharing from New Shepard to New Glenn, and really set them up for the tremendous success that they've had on their first two flights.
So I actually got the extreme privilege of chatting with Megan Lewis, launch director over for New Glenn. And what was so cool about that is she told us about this tradition you have of Wile E. Coyote. And that actually went over from New Shepard all the way to New Glenn. For our viewers, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I will say the first time I sat on console, I saw that WEC in the procedure, and it took me a minute to figure out what it was, but it's great that they've carried that over.
It really, really is. So if you're just joining us, we've talked a little bit about the crossover between New Shepard and New Glenn and how New Shepard is foundational to everything we do here at Blue. You might be noticing that our hold has been lifted. We're about 8 minutes and 30 seconds before we see NS-38 cross that, lift off to cross the Kármán line. And as we count down from that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about a couple of things that have to do with New Shepard. And in order to do that, I'm going to toss over to
capsule.
Oh, good. We've got the go poll.
Booster.
Let's listen in.
Go. Ground.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
Safety.
Go.
Capcom.
Go.
Engineering.
Go.
Copy all goes. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence the terminal count.
Welcome to flight.
Controllers, drop UHF voice.
We love to hear that, Matt. We are a go for launch. How are you feeling right now? What are you typically doing in this moment?
So it was a great replay of our go poll. Typically, I'm on our mission management team, so I'm sitting there in the back room down there making sure we're getting through all of our flight readiness reviews, that things are going well in the countdown. If anything comes up, we're there to help the launch team get through that. So it was great to hear them get through that terminal count go poll. And I want to say it's great to be here because we've got Mike Marhill down there covering for New Shepard today.
Hey, shout out to Mike right now, who is out in West Texas. And of course, NS-38 will take to the skies and beyond from Van Horn, Texas. So while we have a moment, let's actually take a closer look at the town home to New Shepard's team out west.
Two hours east of El Paso sits Van Horn, population 2,000. This small town lies on an isolated edge in the high desert of West Texas, with epic views in every direction. Breathtaking sunsets, a seemingly endless horizon, hiking trails, untouched lands, and natural beauty. It's our home away from home, and when we're here, we get to take part in the local culture. And on launch days, locals get a glimpse of New Shepard as it blasts towards the stars. This is the home of New Shepard. 20 miles north of Van Horn's Main Street, Blue Origin occupies a majestic valley as far as the eye can see. Texas has always been at the forefront of human space exploration. It was home to mission control for the Apollo moon landings, and it's where astronauts have trained for decades. Now, this rich history is being passed to a new generation of astronauts. West Texas has been the site of every New Shepard mission to date. And it's where the journey to space begins.
I love it every time I have the opportunity to go out west to West Texas, whether you're, having a drink at the El Cap or hiking Guadalupe Mountain, the tallest point in Texas. I know it's one of your favorite places to go out and visit too, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit more as we are about T-minus 5 minutes until the launch of NS-38. Let's go through the flight profile and go a little bit more in depth on this experience for our astronauts.
Yeah, so in this animation here, you can see that VE-3 PM engine firing. That's going to take the propulsion module and capsule away from our launch site there in West Texas. We get through max Q, that period of maximum dynamic pressure. And as the vehicle heads up, we get to main engine cutoff. We shut down that engine. The vehicle coasts up into space. We get that separation, and then the astronauts can unbuckle and enjoy their amazing zero-G experience looking out over the Earth and space. Now, the propulsion module and the crew capsule are actually two different shapes. That's on purpose, so that aerodynamically, that PM, that propulsion module is going to come back more quickly. We get through the aerodynamic surface deployment, and then at what seems like the very last second, that engine fires, those landing gear come out, and the PM comes back to Earth. Now, the crew capsule with that gumdrop shape is going to come back a little bit slower than the propulsion module is. So the astronauts are going to strap themselves back in, and as they re-enter the atmosphere, we're going to get to the point where we deploy the drogue parachutes, which slow the vehicle down, get it oriented for those main parachutes to deploy, and then we get a chance to see those beautiful 3 main parachutes deploy before the retro thrust system slows them down for landing.
And you can see the entire flight profile right there on your screen. It is so great to be able to provide such a great flight for our astronauts, getting 3 minutes where they can look out those big windows, some of the biggest ever flown in space. Now, Matt, I also want to talk about what's different, and that's right now, it's cold in Seattle, it is cold out in Cape Canaveral, and it is cold out in West Texas. So what are some of the things that we do to winterize the vehicle?
Yeah, that was actually part of our selection of our T0 time for today, is that it is cold, and we talk a lot about the rockets, but less about those ground systems. So we've got commodities that are on the ground that have to be conditioned before they get fed to the vehicle. We've got pressurants on the vehicle that we're always looking to make sure that we get the right density. So for our engineers, again, you're looking at that pressure, that temperature to get the right density of things like gases on the vehicle. And then we have that environmental control system on the ground. And we need to make sure and turn that up a little bit, warm things up in the capsule for when our astronauts get in there and get ready for their trip to space.
You might notice on your screen we have entered another hold at just under T-minus 3 minutes. But let's continue this conversation, Matt. So what is something that we actually do in the summer versus what we do in the winter?
Yeah, one of the other interesting things is that we're also looking at things like upper level winds. We're looking at thunderstorms in the afternoon. So during the summer, you'll notice we tend to launch earlier in the day, a little bit cooler, both for launch and then also for all of our recovery operations. And then we're also looking for all those upper level winds, trying to trend those, everything that the vehicle has to fly through on its way up and its way back down. And you actually see those shift seasonally throughout the year.
All right, so we're about T-minus just under 3 minutes as we are in a hold for NS-38. Again, the crew of NS-38 is Tim Drexler, Linda Edwards, Alan Fernandez, Alberto Gutierrez, Jim Hendren, and Laura Stiles. In this moment, we're going to toss it back over to the rocket, get a little more information, and come back to you guys. All right, you are watching NS-38. You've got a great shot there from our drones of New Shepard out on the pad. We are currently in a hold just under 3 minutes to launch. Now, one thing I want to chat with you about, Matt, is that New Shepard has incredible windows. I mean, these are some of the largest windows ever flown in space, designed to give our astronauts that incredible panoramic look down at Earth. Tell us a little bit more about how those kind of compare to the Mercury capsule windows.
Yeah, you're actually getting a chance on your screen right now to see a bit of the side-by-side comparison between those New Shepard windows and those Mercury capsule windows. Totally different perspective looking out those amazingly large windows that we have. One of the things that we get feedback from the astronauts about as well is that it's not just one window. When you look out across the capsule and you can look through multiple windows, you get to see the entire panorama of the Earth and space. And so we find that most of our astronauts do tend to spend that time looking out their window, looking at space, looking at the Earth, but also just one quick glance across the capsule and they can see an amazing view that you can't see anywhere else.
Matt, you've been with the New Shepard program quite a long time, and I know you've had a chance to chat with some of our astronauts who have taken these flights. What did they say about what it's like for them to look out those windows and then take those images back with them mentally after their flight?
You know, I think one of the most insightful pieces of feedback that we get from our astronauts is that the view of Earth is amazing and that thin little blue line of atmosphere is really indescribable. But the one thing that surprised me the most is that the astronauts talk about the blackness of space in contrast. That it's truly a shade of black that nobody has yet been able to put words to. And so while they're excited to look down and see the Earth and see what's below them, it provides an amazing contrast and perspective seeing that against that black darkness of space.
Yeah, I've heard that many a times where you see, you know, this ball, this little blue ball that everything and everyone you love is in this space. It is this beacon of life in our atmosphere, in our solar system, and our atmosphere is what really just keeps everything together, and going beyond that is just such an incredible experience. So if you're just joining us, you are watching NS-38. We are at a hold just under 3 minutes until launch. We're going to toss it back over to the rocket and be back with you shortly. All right, friends, you are watching NS-38. We are at a hold at just under 3 minutes until launch. We do have an update for you, and that is that there are unauthorized personnel on the range. Our security is currently working to clear that, and then we will have NS-38 ready to go across the Kármán line.
And at this point in the countdown, the vehicle, the ground systems, they're in a stable configuration while we wait for that to take place. And once that's resolved, we'll look to get back into our countdown.
Well, Matt, again, it is such a pleasure to have you here with me on the desk. And since I have someone like you can give myself and our viewers a little more insight on your role. So I want to know a little bit more about what your day-to-day is like working with the New Shepard program.
Yeah, so my day job, responsible for system architecture, you can think about it as helping define what is New Shepard capable of doing. So, hey, we take 6 people to space. We get up to about 350,000 feet. How do we do that? I'm responsible for defining all of those types of things. I'm responsible for making sure that our ground systems, our propulsion module, our crew capsule, our operations crew, all those things all work together, that it all, when we get to a day like today on launch, that all those things work seamlessly together. I've got a fantastic software team that's part of my group that builds all the flight software, ground software, guidance, navigation, and control, the labs that we test all those things in, and several other folks on my team that bring all the rocket parts together. And then at the end of the day, I'm responsible for our human flight certification. So what is our standard for making sure that we're in a place to go fly people? Are we meeting that standard, and are we ready to go launch? So it keeps me busy on a day-to-day basis.
How did you get into this?
Great question. I've had the opportunity to work on launch vehicles my entire career, so whether it's been sending probes to Mars, to Pluto, to the moon, and then the opportunity to come here at Blue, one of the things that I've found is that I am just truly passionate about human spaceflight. The opportunity to see the impact that this experience has on people and to be able to broaden that perspective to so many folks that otherwise wouldn't have the chance means New Shepard is the best job in the world.
Where did that passion come from? What lit that fire for you?
So one of the things I truly appreciate is the history of spaceflight, right? So we just looked at those Mercury windows, and you think about Alan Shepard, John Glenn, all those folks, and just what it was like for those first people to go to space.
Right.
And you see the expansion of that through the Apollo program. There's a reason why 50 years later, we still talk about those moon landings, right? And so excited that we're going to be going back to the moon and making those same types of memories for another generation. And so to be able to carry that legacy of technical achievement and on impact on humanity forward into this next generation, it's a fantastic opportunity to do that.
I want you to know, Matt, that if anyone else was sitting next to me and we were talking about you, every single person would talk about what just an incredible human you are to work with and how knowledgeable you are. When I first came to Blue, you and I got to set up a one-on-one. We had an hour, and you took me through the vehicle, the history, I mean, everything. Our own Joel Eby, he was like, hey, you got to talk to Matt. He's going to get you squared away so you know everything about New Shepard. And I did. I walked away from that conversation just like enthralled with everything that this program does. But you also, as we mentioned, get to work with Laura Stiles, who is, of course, a part of the crew of NS-38. Tell me a little bit about Laura's role.
Yeah, so on a day-to-day basis in Laura's role, she's responsible for the operations team. And so that means personnel like our booster controllers responsible for our countdown we're getting through today, capsule controllers, ground controllers. She has an entire training team. Days like today don't happen without the fantastic training that Matt Loomis and the rest of our training team puts the crew through for simulations to understand, hey, we run into a hold. How do we all respond? Are we all ready for those types of situations? Works with our flight directors, so the folks making the ultimate decisions on day of launch. She's responsible for managing that entire team, not just to get ready for every launch, but how we evolve it, how we make it better. I think that's one of the things that I truly appreciate about being on New Shepard, is that we're always looking to improve. Today being our 38th launch, it's been amazing to see the growth in the team since my first launch, which was our 7th, over the last 30 launches here to get us to a day like today.
If Laura watches this webcast back after her launch, what is one thing that you want to say to her, that you want her to hear from you directly?
I think one of the things that I hope she knows is just how excited everybody at Blue is that she is getting to have this experience. As I've talked with folks, you know, it's a very special privilege to get a chance to go, and everybody is like, oh, I'm glad it's Laura.
Yeah.
Laura, the way that she interacts with the team, the way that she cares about people, the way that she approaches every situation with humility, and how she fills in whatever needs to get done. That's one of the great things about Laura. When I got the opportunity to train as a pretend astronaut, I still have the memories of her coming rushing through the desert, running to make sure, like, are you guys okay, as we were pretending to, you know, have landed, right? And so just the passion and energy that she brings to everything, I hope everybody knows that.
For our viewers who might be like, what do you mean pretend astronaut? Do you want to describe that?
Absolutely. So one of the other pieces of great feedback we get from our astronauts is just how well the training over the 2 days before launch prepares them for their experience. Well, again, just like we talked about training our launch crew, we got to train our trainers.
Right.
So we've talked about these crew member 7s. And so these crew member 7s also have to go through a training and certification process before they're in those roles to go do that. So Jake Mills, our crew member 7 for today, he went through that training and certification. Sarah Knights does a fantastic job leading that team. And so they've got to practice on somebody. So we have, we call them astronauts, N-O-T-S at the end,
Yeah.
for the folks that are not actually going to space, but several of us have had the chance to participate, and we're there to help train the trainers, to give them feedback, to challenge them so that no matter what the experience is, they're ready to go and give our customers an amazing time.
Yeah, and you can see our astronauts of NS-38 today. This is some of the footage of the training that they've gone through over the past 2 days, practicing everything, making sure they know all of the steps for the day. Such a critical part of the mission as well. And I know our director, Sal, who is at home, actually, he is awaiting his 3rd child who might be born today. We have to give a shout out to him. He is the one who makes sure that we always have such great footage over the 2 days of training. We work with our teams down in Texas, and then we're able to deliver that here on our webcast. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Director Sal right now. We are so excited for you and your entire family. While we're still in this hold, we're at T-minus just under 3 minutes. We're going to toss it back over to the rocket and be back with you guys shortly.